Welcome back. Sporting federations in the country are taking advantage of the overseas coaching grant that was announced during the annual budget last November. 6 federations have applied with rugby and netball grants approved, and negotiations are underway to get coaches for volleyball and boxing from Cuba. Selina Navuso has the details.
Good news for Fiji Rugby. A day after they terminated the contract of national 15s coach Inoki Male, the Fiji Sports Commission has confirmed they have approved the grant allocation for both the 7s and 15s code. National 7s coach Ben Ryan is believed to have already received his first salary from that allocation.
They expressed an interest in the grant, and we have allocated funds for them and given approval.
He adds Netball Fiji is also in the process of getting a new coach from overseas.
As we speak, I understand that Netball Fiji have already closed their panel. They are about to look at the best coach available.
Part of the whole agreement with the national sporting bodies is that the coaches not only look after the national team, but also have a development squad in place. This allows a local coach to understudy in the process.
And that's one of the things we need, and where we will need assistant coaches or local coaches who will understudy the international coach. So it's going to take our own coaches to a higher level.
When asked whether the grant will still be given if a local coach was appointed, this is what Maisie had to say.
No, not under the present situation. This was a special government initiative to bring in international coaches. It's not a new initiative of countries.
Selina Navuso, Fiji One News.
The Fiji Sevens team is hoping to bounce back from a disappointing performance in the USA leg, which saw them finish in the bottom half of the competition, winning the bowl final. Fiji faced New Zealand in their opening match at the Wellington Sevens, in what is poised to become a testy rematch of their controversial showdown in Las Vegas. The rivalry will continue on Friday next week in Wellington, where Fiji have been drawn in Pool B, along with New Zealand, France and Spain. Coach Ben Ryan has already started to map out his plans.
To get some points back on the board and make some points on the field as well.
New Zealand Rugby Sevens coach Gordon Tidgens says they won't be appealing the 9-game suspension given to Canterbury's Sam Dixon for eye gouging. Tidgens says he doesn't believe there was any intent by Dixon in the incident which happened in New Zealand's final pool game win over Fiji. Television footage suggests Dixon unintentionally raked his hand across Fijian player Chonatui Tonga's eyes as the pair wrestled on the ground late in the match. But he says even if they appealed Dixon's suspension was reduced, he still wouldn't be able to take part in the Wellington tournament. Tidgens' first priority will be picking his squad. The injured trio of Tomasi Dhama, Sherwin Stowers and Joe Webber face fitness tests, while teenager Akira Ioane comes back into contention. Athletics Fiji is leaving their past behind to move forward. The rift in the federation has been cleared, and Albert Miller will now resume the presidency.
Albert Miller was a happy and relieved man after being reinstated as president of Athletics Fiji on the weekend.
The SGM came to a resolution, several resolutions that basically will move athletics forward.
8 of the 9 affiliated clubs attended the special general meeting where they unanimously voted Miller back into the top post.
This is a special general meeting which was called by the clubs to basically deal with issues that were raised, and whatever decision that was made by the SGM basically carries a lot of weight.
Differences arose in Athletics Fiji when Miller was voted off his presidential seat, where some members cited a vote of no confidence during an executive committee meeting last month. The meeting also decided to abolish the interim committee.
One of the most important resolutions that was reached during the SGM was basically the removal of the interim committee. In particular, Dr. Alakija and Foto Lendua, who were part of the interim committee.
The officials of the interim committee have been given the right to appeal.
People that were involved in the interim committee will be expelled. Expulsion from from anything to do with Athletics Fiji. This is a process that's within our constitution that we will follow, and they will basically be given a right to be heard.
The SGM has also appointed 2 new members.
Replacing Dr. Alakija is Joseph Roden Jr., who is a former decathlete and an athlete, and also a strong supporter of athletics in Fiji, and Mrs. Salote Wanganivalu.
With issues and problems due to be solved, officials will now try to get athletics back on its feet. Irfan Khan, Fiji One News.
Former Lambasa football coach is back in the fold to help the Mbambasing Lions. Bal Sanju Reddy has been appointed as the new coach of the Lambasa side, taking over from coach player Peter Mboleitonga. Mboleitonga is expected to leave soon to join his Ekari United club in Papua New Guinea. Reddy, who returns to the team after 1 year, started coaching the side yesterday and says he's looking forward to the new challenge. Football giants Mba and Nandi are back to play in the National League competition from this weekend after the completion of the champion versus champion series. Both sides won't get the rest they need after playing 3 games in the series because of the hectic schedule this season. Mba in their opening match host Navua while Nandi take on Andronga. In the top of the table clash, Suva face Rewa and Lambasa travels to the west to meet Lautoka. Jose footballers gave manager Jose Mourinho something of a bittersweet 51st birthday present. Oscar's stunning free kick was enough to beat Stoke 1-0 in their 4th round FA Cup tie at Stamford Bridge. This was the Blues' 7 wins in a row in all competitions. Chelsea will now face Manchester City in the 5th round. Netball Fiji is in the process of looking for a new national coach to lead the Fiji Pearls to next year's Netball World Cup. Speaking to Fiji One News yesterday, outgoing national coach Unaisi Rokora says she was relayed the message by President Wainikiti Mbonginrao after the committee met last Saturday. A lot of questions have also been raised as to how much she was receiving as pay, but Rokora's priority is for the girls to deliver.
For the last 4 years and being working under Netball Fiji, that I have been doing this for as a volunteer for the last 4 years, being coach of the Fiji netball team.
With Netball Fiji now looking for a replacement coach abroad, this does not mean that local coaches are being undermined.
With having international coaches here, we can train up our local coaches, take them up that one level higher. It's certainly not putting down any of our own coaches.
Maisie says this option opens doors for them.
Their qualifications need to be up to the international standards so that they can then qualify themselves for better positions internationally, not just in Fiji.
Plans are now in the pipeline to build a standard international hockey turf in Lautoka. The Fiji Hockey Federation are optimistic about the project, with officials already in talks with business houses to help with funding.
Planning to grow bigger, the Fiji Hockey Federation is now hoping to build an international standard rubber turf in the West. The estimated cost could be around $500,000.
Definitely we can't afford to own our own turf. We will work with the authorities where we can to see how we can get a turf in the West, and that process is underway.
The officials have yet to confirm when the construction is expected to begin. The location is earmarked for Lautoka, where the sport is quite popular.
To get the turf in Suva, it was hosting the South Pacific Games. So we talked about it for 20 years before we got the turf in Suva. We've been talking for a long time for a turf in the West as well. So probably the last 20 years we've been looking at how we can do.
Meanwhile, Fiji Hockey will put together their proposal of hosting the World League and Oceania Pacific Cup in December during Oceania Hockey's annual general meeting in Vanuatu.
The agreement from Fiji Hockey is we put a proposal in Vanuatu that the World Series be run again with Oceania Pacific Cup in December. So basically OPC is now confirmed.
The Federation is hoping discussions are in their favor in order to take the sport to a new height at the world stage. Vashnil Prasad, Fiji One News.
Cricket Fiji won 2 awards in the 2013 Pepsi International Cricket Council's East Asia Pacific Development Program. The 2 awards were for Photo of the Year as well as Best Spirit of Cricket Initiative. The second award was for the sporting body's Inclusive Cricket Program, whilst the Photo of the Year award was for a picture taken during the launch of the Women's Island Cricket Project in Rabo Village, Tailebu. Fiji, Papua New Guinea and Vanuatu received 2 awards, while Cook Islands and Korea took home 1 award each. Finally, in sports, Australian Open champion Stanislas Wawrinka says he did not believe he was good enough to win a Grand Slam. The 28-year-old Swiss beat world number 1 Rafael Nadal in Sunday's final in Melbourne. He's the first man outside the big four of Nadal, Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic and Andy Murray to win a major since Juan Martín del Potro in 2009.
On the banks of Melbourne's Yarra River, the new Open champ admits he's still in dreamland.
Still really don't completely realize what's happening, but I'm really happy, you know.
The spoils coming in his 36th Grand Slam appearance, the second longest wait ever for an Open title.
I did it. No one can take it back.
Until last night, the 28-year-old had never won a set against Rafael Nadal in 12 previous matchups. He ticked that box early with Swiss timing and raw power. But Wawrinka didn't know he was battling a wounded Spanish bull. Nadal's pre-match back tweak flared up in the second set, forcing the world number 1 to the sheds for 7 minutes of treatment as the match erupted into controversy.
You can fight about this or you can accept it. I think you need to accept it.
Didn't know really what was the problem and didn't want to tell me, so I get pissed and I think it's not normal.
Last thing that I wanted to do was retirement. No, I hate to do that.
The top seed required constant nursing as he limped to his second set loss. Sensing a final fizzer, the crowd rallied behind Nadal, and as his painkillers kicked in, Wawrinka checked out, losing his composure and the third set. But the Swiss mojo returned in the fourth, his night ending in ecstasy, his good mates in agony.
He's a good friend of mine, and I am really happy for him. So
this victory moves Wawrinka into third position in the world rankings, but perhaps more significantly, he now steps out of that long shadow cast by Roger Federer. Wawrinka overtaking Federer for the first time as the number 1 ranked Swiss player, ending a 13-year reign.
That's sports for tonight, Willie.
Thanks, Myron. Stay with us for World News after the break.